Hello class, welcome to Renaissance to Modern. What was the Renaissance? Well, we show. So what was the Renaissance? We can say it was a rebirth of classical ideas. What caused this rebirth? Well, the huge changes were occurring in Europe. The medieval period was waning. Feudalism was basically over. City-states and countries were developing. The campaigns to the Crusades and Far East trading brought new ideas about the world. The papacy and Christendom was still a strong influence on life. Don't forget, life was controlled by the church from the cradle to the grave. At this time, intellectuals and theologians were becoming interested in the world, and they went and they researched ancient manuscripts. They scoured monastery libraries and found these ancient manuscripts from the pagan writers, and they found they were learning a lot. So these theologians, intellectuals, started the cultural movement of humanism. So what was humanism? Humanism was focusing more on man as the center of the universe. No longer was a higher order so important, but man and his position in the world. So it was a time of rebirth of scientific ideas, political ideas, artistic ideas that were long forgotten in the Dark Ages in the medieval period. So the intellectuals looked to the pagan writings and learned a lot from them. They looked to Plato and the Greeks. These ideas became extremely important at the time. So around 15th century Italy, this progression into humanism, humanism at the heart of the Renaissance occurred in 15th century Italy. Italy important because Italy was the heart of the Renaissance because the Italians were very passionate about their connection to ancient Rome. At this time, also, the idea of educating yourself and the idea of the Renaissance man occurred, in particular, like Leonardo da Vinci. You see his sketch here. He knew about how the fetus grew in the womb. So artists could study a lot from the ancient ideas and classical antiquity. The artists went to the ruins in the cities and looked at the architecture. So art and architecture starting to change based on these studies of antiquity. They're going to see more naturalism occurring in the art. At the beginnings of modeling figures using light and shadow. The Italian term chiaroscuro will be come completely important in the Renaissance. The introduction of oil paint, the idea of perspective, ordered architecture became extremely important. The use of dome-covered spaces and building grand, elegantly designed structures all became important in the Renaissance. So it was a period of new world of knowledge opening up based on the exposure to the art of antiquity. The idea of ordering space on a flat surface. And you can see an example here of the one-point perspective of Raphael's School of Athens, excuse me. So there's just exposure to the art of antiquity led to major developments in art and architecture. The result of the role of the artist was also changing. So it was elevating at this time, the elevating of the role of the artist to the idea that being an artist was a genius. You were a genius. So artists received contracts from patrons and even lived in grand palaces that provided by the patrons. Here we have Leonardo da Vinci here and Michelangelo on the right. Famous works of them here. Example, you have Mona Lisa, everybody knows that, on the left, and Michelangelo's David on the right. So 15th century Europe, particularly Italy, many factors led to the spread of the Renaissance ideas. Remember, the ideas were new ideas based on classical antiquity. So it was time of changes. There was economic prosperity. We have the invention of the printing press, which also brought new ideas, the spread of new ideas. It was more peaceful time. Cities, states were forming, growth of schools and university, and of course the humanism brought the system of humanities to the studies. Basically, the idea of the Renaissance is a rebirth of classical ideas, and also the movement of humanism and how it greatly affected the Renaissance. So we will see more of this as our course